Welcome to English with Podcast. Today we are exploring 20 advanced English phrases. If you can use these correctly, your English level is truly excellent.
That is right, Sam. We will take turns sharing a phrase and explaining how to use it. Let's begin.
The first phrase is to hit the nail on the head. This means to describe exactly what is causing a situation or problem. For example, you hit the nail on the head when you said this project needs more time.
My first phrase is to read between the lines. This means to find a hidden meaning in something said or written. For example, he said he was fine, but reading between the lines, I think he is actually quite sad.
Number 3 is a blessing in disguise. This refers to a misfortune that eventually results in something good happening later on. For example, losing that job was a blessing in disguise because I found a much better one.
The next one is to burn the midnight oil. This means to stay up very late working or studying. For example, I had to burn the midnight oil to finish my presentation before the meeting.
Here's a good one. To cut a long story short. You use this when you want to skip the boring details and get to the point. For example, to cut a long story short, we missed the train and had to walk home.
My next phrase is to jump on the bandwagon. This means to join others in doing something that has become fashionable or popular. For example, many companies are jumping on the AI bandwagon this year.
Let's try to keep someone at arm's length. This means to avoid becoming too friendly or close with someone. For example, I trust him as a colleague, but I prefer to keep him at arm's length personally.
Number 8 is to leave no stone unturned. This means to try every possible course of action in order to achieve something. For example, the police will leave no stone unturned until they find the witness.
Next, we have to make a long story short. Wait, I used a similar one. Let's try the best of both worlds. This means a situation where you can enjoy the advantages of two very different things. For example, by working from home, she has the best of both worlds, a great career and time with family.
Halfway there. My next phrase is to take something with a grain of salt. This means to not believe something completely because it might be exaggerated. For example, I took his fishing stories with a grain of salt because he likes to brag.
Number 11 is to bite off more than you can chew. This means to take on a task that is way too big or difficult. For example, I think I bit off more than I could chew by agreeing to lead 3 projects.
My next choice is to be under the weather. This is a common way to say you feel slightly ill. For example, I cannot come to the party tonight because I'm feeling a bit under the weather.
Try this, to add insult to injury. This means to make a bad situation even worse. For example, the car broke down, and to add insult to injury, it started to rain.
Here's a classic, to speak of the devil. You say this when the person you were just talking about arrives unexpectedly. For example, did you hear what happened to Mark? Oh, speak of the devil, here he comes.
Next is to throw in the towel. This means to give up on something because you realize you cannot succeed. For example, after 3 hours of trying to fix the sink, he finally threw in the towel and called a plumber.
Number 16 is to be under the fence. This means you are undecided about something. For example, I'm still on the fence about whether to buy a new car or repair the old one.
Let's look at to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. This means to hear information directly from the person who has first-hand knowledge. For example, I didn't want to believe the rumors, so I got the news straight from the horse's mouth.
Almost finished. Next is to let the cat out of the bag. This means to accidentally reveal a secret. For example, we were planning a surprise party, but Sarah let the cat out of the bag.
My last one is to cost an arm and a leg. This is a way to say something is very expensive. For example, that luxury watch must have cost him an arm and a leg.
And finally, to kill two birds with one stone. This means to achieve two things at the same time with one single action. For example, by cycling to work, I'm getting exercise and saving money, killing two birds with one stone.
Those are 20 excellent phrases. If you use them, you will sound like a native speaker.
Thank you for listening. Keep practicing, and we'll see you next time.